Hello Android fans, my name is Erica and today I'm going to be doing a review for you on the Galaxy Note. Yeah, so I ended up going dark side, from Verizon to AT&T. I would like to explain to you in this real world review what that was like. All I can say is that I've seen a lot of reviews on YouTube, and a lot of them are very specification based, and they don't bother to tell you what it's actually like to use the device. They just say, oh, it's got a gigantic screen on the thing, oh boy, it doesn't fit in pockets, la la la, wah wah wah, instead of actually saying what it feels like to use it, what it's like in all practicalities, day-to-day use. So I'd like to cover several things: the screen, the operating system, the speed, the international version versus the AT&T version, what you should do for insurance, because it's hard to actually get one of these guys insured the right way. So I'll be covering all that for you and anything else that I can possibly think of in this real-world review, so you can get a real idea what it's like to use this big bad boy. Okay, yeah, I know. The first thing you guys are going to want to know about is the actual size of this thing, unless you've actually gone into an AT&T store or played with somebody's Note. But yes, this is a big phone. It's big, but, don't complain and cry about it. It's actually quite fantastic. I have really teeny, tiny little hands, I'm 23, but I look like I'm 15. But hey, I'm going to look great when I'm 40, so shush. So we have, a 5.3-inch screen. And it looks about like so against my face. People say, oh, people are going to make fun of you. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. No, it's not like that at all. People are actually really interested in it. And I'm more of a trendsetter. I don't really care about what people think at all. Until you actually hold one of these guys in your hand, you're probably going to say, that is a huge phone, man. I don't know what you're going to use that for. But this is what the point of this review is. So we have the big guy here versus something like the Nintendo 3DS. And, as far as form factor, if you've seen, a lot of you, come on, a lot of you are nerds. I know you've played with a 3DS, or at least something similar. You can see that, actually, the Note is a little bit bigger, probably about 1/4 of an inch or so, and about maybe 1/2 of an inch taller than this guy here, and a heck of a lot thinner. You can see that this actually does have a very thin profile, and that's what really does help with making this thing pocketable, which I'm going to show that as well. Girl jeans, guy jeans, probably grab a pair of my dad's pants. My dad seems to have left this weekend to a business trip or whatever, so looks like I won't be able to do the guy jean test. This is what it looks like in girl jeans. You can see I've got a little bit of it's coming up here, but it's not too bad. Feels comfortable enough to me. It doesn't fall out, and girls have purses, so that's a good thing. That's kind of a mediator between this and having to do this and all that good stuff. So there we go. Not too bad. So here is something against, BlackBerry. This is what people are really familiar with. This is the BlackBerry Curve. See that it actually fits into the entire screen. Same thing with an iPhone 4. I had one of those as well, and the screen was just way too small on that, which is why I've just been so ecstatic that Android has been coming out with such a diverse range of screen sizes. And then we have the Galaxy Nexus. This is actually the Verizon version, and I did make that conversion from, Verizon to AT&T. I will explain a little bit about that in a minute. So you can see that this is quite the large phone. I held this the first time in my hand, was like, oh my goodness, this is too big. I feel like it's way too big. Felt like I was going to drop it or something. And then, no, I had to go bigger. And this one actually feels very nice in the hand, since it does sit flush against my little hands at least. It hits the palm just the right way. Your fingers don't feel too wide. So I don't have any complaints about the size whatsoever. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum, the other extreme. My backup phone, quote unquote, the Xperia Mini. This is a Sony phone. This is a Pro version. Yeah. And so you can see that this is I'm a person of extremes. I like one end of the spectrum or the other, so it feels wonderful to me. So moving on. So the actual screen on this thing is big. This thing is beautiful. As far as pixel density, a lot of people complain about it being pen tile, but I really don't see any pixelation. Maybe once in a while, if you're looking at text, you might see some little jagged edges just because of the pen tile matrix, but you know, that really, it doesn't bother me. I can show you up close so you can actually see what that's like.
I mean, because look at that. It's so pretty. I don't see any pixels, do you? I mean, just look. I don't know. That is just super, super pretty.
So, will you actually use the pen on this thing? Don't call it a stylus, because I swear the people at Samsung will track you down and probably kill you. I've actually found it to be quite responsive and really great in a crunch, especially. I've been twittering a lot about how awesome this particular feature is. And in Ice Cream Sandwich, they're going to be offering a premium suite where they're really going to add a lot more capabilities as far as graphing and vector designs and all kinds of other things. But it's actually very fast. I've used this in class, especially to take notes, being a college student. It's really important to be able to have something to just jot down right away, and I'm not really good with paper. I lose it, and it gets crumpled in my backpack, and looks like garbage. I'm ashamed to show my professors. So, you know, this is perfect. Also, I was able to draw a lot of things on here, and you can export them to the gallery, and then you can email them and print them, and it looks really professional. I have done a lot of graphics on here already and put it on a poster presentation, and they're like, hey, that's pretty awesome. Where'd you get that from? And I'm like, got my Galaxy Note, you know. Okay, so I had well, I still do, I'm trying to sell this thing, the Verizon Galaxy Nexus. Why in the world do I need a Galaxy Note for when I already have one of the best phones around, arguably? Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things. The Galaxy Note actually fixes a lot of the things, in my opinion, that the Galaxy Nexus did not have or fell short of. First thing, Gorilla Glass. People say, oh, you know, it's got a fortified glass, it's fine, you know, it's not going to scratch. This guy here is prone to scratches, man, I'm telling you. If you want a screen protector, and for one thing, it's kind of hard to find a screen protector for this thing because that stupid curved form factor, oh, looks great against your face. Yeah, but if you can't find a screen protector to actually protect this thing that they claim has a good, strong screen, you're kind of screwed. This does hold up against scratches pretty well. Some people are already complaining about scratches because, glass scratches, but it does have Gorilla Glass, so you guys should know Galaxy Nexus does not have Gorilla Glass. Galaxy Note does have Gorilla Glass. That's +1 for Galaxy Note. Also, the Nexus has this retarded issue where they didn't put a memory card expansion slot? Hello? It's kind of flipping pointless to not have it be able to be expandable. This does have an expansion card, and the thing is that you couldn't actually mount this guy. You know, I don't really know what that's about. You had to use Android file transfer, and they got extremely annoying because it was so slow. So you can't mount this guy. You have to do it via the file transfer protocol with Android file transfer. This guy, this is mountable, USB mountable, with or without your SD card. I mean, yes, with or without an SD card, this is mountable. You just go to USB debugging, you plug the sucker in, you say connect, and bada bang, bada boom. Great, you can drag things, and it's a lot faster than this silly little guy. Battery life. Battery life on this thing is horrible. I can tell you that I actually have, 4 extra batteries. 3 are extended, 1 is an extra one that just came with the charger that I purchased for this guy. External charger. It would take about 3 hours for this thing to drain entirely. Just checking things and sending emails. That's horrible. You can't use this at all. If you like to constantly rip the back cover off this thing, which makes a nice reassuring sound, actually this is getting better because I ripped it off so many times before it would sound like you're actually breaking it every time you'd open it. No, so, I'm not a fan of having to change the battery constantly. Let's see if I can get this back on. The battery life on the Galaxy Note, though, is something to be happy about. I'm telling you. Goodness. Sometimes, you hit 5 hours depending on what you're doing, but that's 5 solid hours with the screen on. So all day, you can be using Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, YouTube, cameras, and this thing lasts me all day. I haven't felt like having to buy an extended battery because it's that great.
Alright, so we are now at 4% battery. It's been 12 hours, 14 minutes, 7 seconds on battery, and last night I completely killed this thing. The CPU was going crazy, especially because I was running Netflix for 3 hours. I was playing games. I was using this thing to the max, doing email. So if I look under display, this is really what's most important. You can see that it says 4 hours, 50 minutes. So as I was saying, that's right at 5 hours, pretty much. You can see that's at 4%, another 10 minutes, it'll be 5 hours. So rest assured, with a heavy use, this was really heavy use, the screen time can last, rest assuredly, for 5 hours. That's fantastic. And if you turn the display down and you're not doing crazy things like I was doing, I'm sure it will last longer than that.
The AT&T version is LG, although not LG, 4G, LTE. You can't turn off the 4G antenna. They don't let you choose between the different bands. So unless you root the thing, and of course then you can default to which band you want it to stay on. But you will have 4G on continuously on the AT&T version. And how does that affect the battery life? Well, I've seen that it's about an hour and 30 minutes less than this guy, give or take. So it's actually been pretty comparable, and people have been saying it actually has really good battery life as well. All right, so how about the processor speed on this guy versus the AT&T version? Well, let me say something here. If you're going to be completely getting rid of your tablet and you want to just condense and have a phone that's a tablet, I recommend going with the Exynos processor that we have here. That's in the international version, simply because it handles frame rates a lot better when it comes to movies. You can throw anything at this guy and it will show movies, beautifully, very quick. I don't see any stuttering whatsoever. The thing with the AT&T version is that the Snapdragon Qualcomm processor is, it's not as good. It stutters some, so I've seen a lot of complaints about the stuttering. So that's a little bit disappointing. But as far as emulators go, if you really like things like N64oid, which you can download and put all kinds of really cool ROMs on here and be very old school 90s, then, the Galaxy Note International version and the AT&T version are actually pretty on par with each other and do very well together. So, even this itty-bitty little nonsense phone of mine, which I do love, has a 1 gigahertz Snapdragon processor and is tiny and is, single core, unpowerful as it is, it runs emulators just fine, perfectly. So, rest assured, if this can do it, your AT&T version with the Snapdragon processor most certainly will be able to run emulators just fine. So, really, what is the difference between the 4G LTE version and the HSPA Plus international version? When it comes to speed, I don't really mind whether it has the full 4G or not, especially because this one has really fast HSPA Plus. I was getting upwards of 7 megabits, 8 megabits, once I even hit 9 megabits a second. That was outside the AT&T store, but I was like, wow, that's insane. It's like low-end 4G speeds anyway, so I don't really care. And I had Verizon 4G, and it's really fast, it's snappy, but then you can use data so quickly, especially with these data caps. It can be a little bit of a problem if you're like, I download happy. I can just download anything I want now. I go so fast. Okay, how about the things that I don't like about it? The things that make me very sad inside and want to cry. There's a problem with video right now, at least with the Super AMOLED displays. Arguably not with the Super AMOLED Plus displays, because they have a different matrix lineup of the pixels and they don't share pixels, subpixel, all that issue. So when you look at this screen, if you are in a darker area and you are watching a video and it has some type of black, anything that's a darker scene, you get what they call black clipping. So you have areas that it suddenly looks really I'll just show you what I'm talking about. I don't know what Samsung is doing at this point. They need to fix this. If you have something that's a higher bitrate video, where it's a lot higher pixel density, and it looks a little bit better.
Okay, so I know a second ago I was really complaining about the video quality because of the black clipping effect. That makes me extremely angry. I don't know when or if Samsung is going to fix it, but there is something that you can do to try to make yourself feel better during that situation. So I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to show you. Those of you guys who are complete and utter nerds like me, know that Android is formatted in FAT32 by default and won't read the other Windows format, which is NTFS. FAT32 defaults at 4 gigabyte file sizes. You can't go any bigger than that, so that means that if you want to have an HD movie, it can only be at a limit of 4 gigabytes. That is until you do this easy little hack thing by rooting it and installing a custom kernel that can deal with NTFS and be able to mount that. You can have really awesome high quality videos like this one here. This is Harry Potter. And not only is it really high bitrate, it runs really fast. You can see that it has no lagging whatsoever. None. So, I mean, it helps to get rid of the black clipping, especially at such a high bit rate. It helps to deal with getting rid of a lot of the artifacts, which really does cause the black clipping. If it's encoded like crap, it's going to look like crap, especially on this AMOLED screen because it's just so much easier to see on that.
But you still get areas of the black clipping. Sometimes it favors green coloration. Sometimes you'll see purple areas where it's supposed to be black. So please, Samsung, fix this. This is something that's supposed to be a multimedia device. I'm a complete YouTube fanatic and I watch movies all the time. Netflix, I was watching Doctor Who last night. This is the first time that I've actually seen something in video on the Galaxy Note that the black crush effect or black clipping did not look very bad at all. It actually wasn't really an issue. So I don't know if they just use different parameters for Netflix, but at least for the Doctor Who videos I was watching, which tend to be very dark in certain scenes, you know, that sci-fi effect, it looked fantastic. So I think that it's got to be more of a software thing with this black clipping, a little bit of hardware because of how the screen is designed, but I really feel like they can do something to fix it. And they haven't done that as of yet. But on the forums, this guy, Super Curio, he's working on it. He's trying to create different profiles to fix that problem in video so that we can all move on and enjoy our little pets here and not have an issue. So, how about camera? This has the exact same, it's a Sony sensor. I know because I'll explain in a second. It has the same Sony sensor that the Galaxy S2 has. So if you've had a Galaxy S2, you know what to expect with the camera on this thing. It's a super, very vibrant, awesome camera that picks up a lot of detail. I'm going to be showing you a range of pictures and videos as well, so I can show you what you're looking at. Because a lot of people want to not only, if you're going to carry around a device like this, not only are you going to want that big screen, but you're going to want it to be able to do video very well for you if you don't want to carry around your point and shoot and all this or that. And we're becoming more reliant on our mobile devices, so why in the world not have a good camera? You know, I wouldn't be able to justify this. People complain, I'm not picking this thing because of the camera. Well, just shut up. You're a small part of the demographic. Most people want a nice camera on their phone now.
Yay, now you get to test the wind filter too. Blowing. This is my little neighborhood. It's not too shaky. And this is my crappy ride that's about to break down, and the speedometer doesn't work anymore, and neither does the odometer. It's great. It's really, really great. So you can see the color saturation on this thing. It's actually quite nice. This is my Buscando Nemo blanket, my Finding Nemo blanket that I got on the border of Tijuana and, you know, San Diego-ish. That was kind of fun. Very, very nice, I would have to say.
There are some issues with the camera though, as you had seen on the Galaxy S, Galaxy S2. I don't know why they haven't done this yet. You'd think that if there's a problem with it, they'd fix it. As it does show that pink spot. They say some of them don't. I guess maybe there's a different manufacturer, different lens. But most of them, if you're not using a flash and if you're looking at something that's a little bit darker or a pure white area, you're going to see a nice light pink circle right there, right in the middle of the picture. I've only noticed that a couple times. This actually does really well. When you have the flash on, it seems to get rid of the spot entirely. And if you're somewhere out that's in bright daylight, it seems to get rid of the red spot as well. So it's not in every single condition. I don't know if it has to do with the rendering or what exactly is going on. But the red spot also appears on this little guy, which this is a Sony phone. So this is how I know, and I've also seen the different manufacturers for lenses. So Sony lens, same thing as the Galaxy S2. They haven't fixed the problem yet. The other thing is that it does really great macro shots, you know, just when you're taking an actual picture. But for right now, as soon as you go into video mode and try to do any type of up-close macro, it doesn't focus. The camera on this thing just won't focus like the Galaxy S2. They say they're going to fix that with Ice Cream Sandwich because this thing had absolutely fantastic continuous autofocus during macro mode. You know, you didn't even have to set it to macro mode, it would do it itself. So I'm hoping that with Ice Cream Sandwich they will add my macro mode back on and I can go about reviewing my crazy virtual pets because that's one of the other things that I do and that's what got me started. So it's hard to do that on the go when I'm just like, look, it's doing something cute. All right, anyway, moving on. I absolutely love the interface on this thing. A lot of people don't like TouchWiz. I don't have a problem with TouchWiz. It's actually one of the nicer overlays that I've seen, you know, from a manufacturer. I've used everything from HTC. No bashing HTC Sense. I really like HTC Sense. There's extreme bashing of Motorola's UI, though. I really hate their Motorola Blur or Ninja Blur or whatever the heck they want to call it so that you think it's not there. Because of the huge, overly big screen, games on this thing look awesome. Internet browsing on this thing is awesome. A lot of people were having issues in the internet browser with it showing pink, weird, changing colors as they're looking at the screen. To fix that, at least for most people, all you have to do is to go under your settings, under this display area, and I can show you as I'm doing this. You go under the settings, go under this display area, and turn off the auto adjustment for the screen, you know, for power saving or whatever. And it seems to fix the issue. So I haven't seen that again. Okay, so let's talk about the actual antennas themselves. So you've got, you know, the Galaxy Nexus phone antenna and GPS, and Wi-Fi as well, and you've got the Galaxy Note GPS Wi-Fi phone antennas. So for some reason, the international version of this guy had a lot better antenna for like everything, GPS included. I always had so many issues for some reason with the Verizon version of the Galaxy Nexus, keeping a signal. And it did absolutely horrible on the GPS. It took a while for it to get a fix, and then it kept dropping, and I didn't like the synthesized voice that was on this thing. It would change between one lady's voice and another, and I'm sure I could have done something with the software to fix that, but it was just a pain in the ass out of the box to use the GPS on this thing. This is buttery smooth. This makes me happy. It has the old classic strange synthesized lady voice that I like. I'm very particular about, you know, usability straight out of the box. You know, it just shows how polished something is. This is fantastic. The phone signal strength on this thing is great. The GPS, I can't say enough about how fast this thing gets a fix. It gets a fix so fast, and it stays connected, and it doesn't give me any problems at all. So between both of these guys, you know, that's how I feel about the Galaxy Nexus. As far as where do I put this thing when I'm driving? No, I don't have a dashboard mount, although I think that would probably be a smart thing. I just kind of keep it in my lap, kind of between my knees, and it sits there, and it's loud enough to hear. That's another thing. Speakerphone on this guy. The international version, for some reason, they didn't put the best speaker in this guy. So I've seen a couple different variations. I had a white Galaxy Note that I got from Handtec, which is one thing I can say, don't buy from Handtec. I will get into that in a minute with who you should buy from and insurance. So for some reason, the white version that I had, the speaker quality was horrible. You know, I'm a Harry Potter fan, and I had my Harry Potter ringtone, like, you know, all really cute little tinkering bell sound, and it sounded horrible and groggy and grainy, like you were shoving sand into it or something. But no, this one's a little bit better, but the quality is not on par with the AT&T version as far as the speaker sound goes. So it's not as loud as it should be, and it's just, it's a little tinny. Let's just put it that way. It's a little tinny and not as loud, but not bad. Okay, so if you're gonna actually go out and buy the international version, if you're crazy like me, I recommend do not get it from Handtec. I know they say, on your behalf, we will take the phone back and send it to Samsung so they can fix it under their warranty if there's anything wrong, because if you purchase it in the United States or via a third-party seller, you're screwed because you don't have insurance, because that's how Samsung is. They don't have a full warranty for everybody, just their particular country that it's assigned to. So, no Handtec. I purchased one that my other video I have is called, Galaxy Note, International Galaxy Note Horror, in which I got completely screwed by Handtec. Yes, I'm slandering you, Handtec, because I'm trying to save people from you. They're great with giving you a phone, and they send it overnight. Literally, they send the thing overnight from the United Kingdom, and it gets to you so fast. That I congratulate them on. They're very, very fast, very speedy. But as soon as you have a problem and you need to return it to them, you're screwed. So this is what happened and why I'm so pissed off. I paid for a brand new phone with Handtec. Handtec.co.uk. I think that's right. And I said, brand new phone, paid for brand new phone. I get the phone. Oh, before I asked them to ship it, I said, can you check it for me, make sure there's no dead pixels? So they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. I got one, sure enough, no dead pixels. I was very happy, but they told me that it was brand new and it was refurbished. It was clearly refurbished, and this was a problem because it had been pried where it had been opened, and I didn't know what had happened to it, and the speaker sounded like garbage, worse than the actual speaker on this thing. And I contact them and I say, hey, you guys gave me one that looks like it's been damaged. They blamed FedEx for it. They made me take pictures, and they refused that, they completely denied that they were the ones that had caused any damage and that they had refurbished phones in the first place. I know for a fact the phone was refurbished, because if you looked at the box, there was a security tag, it says, if this is cut, do not sell. Well, there was another, manufacturer OEM sticker that said the same thing, if cut, do not sell. So it had been serviced. It had the original security sticker, and then Samsung themselves put another security sticker on top of it. I don't know why Samsung decided to cause problems with the phone and actually pry open the casing and leave marks all over the place, but sure enough, I'm sure it was Samsung who had fixed the phone themselves. So Handtec told me that they don't give refurbished phones when they clearly did. I've showed this to them several times. And then they sent me out another one, had issues. They don't do advanced returns, so you have to purchase each phone individually, and I didn't have any other backup phone. So I ended up with 2 phones on my credit card. They told me it would be carriage free to send it back to them so that I could get my refund. And then they told me, oh, well, we only do it up to £7, which isn't very much money. I ended up spending, with USPS, $63 to send back both phones. So, FedEx was $89 after a $30 discount. So I could not believe how ridiculous this Handtec company is. Do not buy from Handtec. I recommend buying from Amazon. If you're going to buy from somewhere at all, make sure that it is fulfilled and sold by Amazon. It has to be this, because otherwise it's a third party, and if something goes wrong, you have to deal with the restocking fees, this or that. Amazon.com, no restocking fees. If you can find one when they're selling them, I definitely recommend getting one and, be done with it. The first one I had really bad green issue on the screen. The second one is much better as far as AMOLED displays go. And, they easily just sent me another one, no restocking fee, no problems. So just go with Amazon. So what do I recommend doing for insurance? Stay away from Square Trade. Unfortunately, Square Trade doesn't cover the international note, because you have to have a United States warranty in order for Square Trade to work with you. There's N Squared, which I saw a lot of people using. The only problem with that is that if you happen to destroy the phone, drop it, whatever, they're going to give you the AT&T version. So you're kind of screwed there, because if you didn't want the AT&T version, therein lies a ridiculous reason to, go down that path. So The one that I'm using is Security. They are actually international. They also are in Canada, the United States. They service some people in the United Kingdom. So know that they're reliable. The thing is that if I break this guy here, then not only, with 2 years, I get 6 replacements. And if I break it, they will give me a check to go on Amazon for the full amount that I paid for this phone, depending on what I had shown on the receipt that I sent them. They will let me purchase another one straight from Amazon with a check. So no nonsense going with the AT&T version. I bought this version. This is what they're going to make sure I get. So go with Security as far as insurance. N Squared, push them away. They have terrible customer service anyway. I called them and had no idea what I was talking about. And, Square Trade is really out of the question. All right, you guys, my little Galaxy Note, big Galaxy Note here, and I are very grateful for you guys watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Tell me if you want to know anything else about the Note. If you have any particular questions, feel free to comment. Please, please do. So if I can think of anything else, I'll be writing it down or maybe make a second update video or something. So it has been now a month and a half since I've had this thing, and it's great. It's a great experience. I definitely do recommend getting this phone. If you can swallow the fact that it's having a little bit of issue with video right now, this is the fastest phone that I've ever used so far. I'm sure that there's going to be quad core, this and that, but we still haven't even fully utilized the full capabilities of dual core. So I am extremely excited about this phone. It's been a really wonderful experience. Great battery life, great antenna, great GPS, really fantastic with apps, great interface, great camera for the most part. So, give this little guy, give it a chance. And I'm sure, with the development communities and everything down the road, it's really going to be a solid choice for a tablet replacement and a phone. So, I'm going to take my little Galaxy Note here and I'm going to go and see my boyfriend because I haven't seen him in a while. So, have a good day, you guys. And thank you. Turn this off.